Oh, folks, this is Anthony from the world famous Honda Snowblower Enthusiast on Facebook and YouTube channel. You have a stuck nut, stuck bolt, something stuck on your small engine, your Honda Snowblower, your generator, any kind of engine that you're working on, and you're trying to take a part off, replace it with a new part, and you can't get the part off. Well, people come over here all the time and they ask me, "Hey, Anthony, what do you use to loosen up tight stuck bolts and nuts and stuff like that?" And they'll go on YouTube and they'll be checking all the videos, and these guys have scientific tests on what they should use, and I'm just talking from experience. Ever since I was 7 years old, I've been working on all kinds of engines, cars, trucks, motorcycles, Harleys, small engines. And after 50 something years, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to talk about that today. Here's my world famous Honda snowblower shop. That's all I work on is Honda snowblowers, and I've learned a lot over the years. I've learned a lot of things the hard way so that you folks don't have to. So let me show you what I've found out over the years that works. The best penetrating oils that you can use to loosen up a nut or something that's stuck on your machine. Now let me start with right here. This stuff right here, you could get this at the dollar store. And I spend several $100s a year on all kinds of different sprays, chain lubricants and penetrating oils and all kinds of different silicones, WD-40 with silicone and all kinds of stuff. It only costs $1, but it works. I use it about 80 to 90% of the time, and even the cheapest stuff can do the job. Now I know what you guys with the shops are gonna say. Oh, you gotta use Croil, you gotta use PB Blaster, you gotta use this and you gotta use that. And, a lot of shops use very expensive penetrating oils. $25, $30 a can. And these are the guys that do this for a living, and they can't mess around. They got to use something that's going to work right the first time. And so they're married to their products. They're going to say, "Hey, you got to use this, you got to use that." What I'm talking about here, folks, is the normal everyday Honda snowblower small engine person. You've got your Honda snowblower, you have a house and you need to clean up your driveway. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the everyday Honda snowblower owner, small engine owner, and I'm talking from experience. I'm not doing all these scientific tests, and going that way. I'm going to tell you what works for me, and it doesn't have to break the bank. Actually, like I just showed you here, this stuff is cheap. It's $1 a can. It works. I mean, not all the time. And here's another one. This is from Costco. I'm not Costco. This is from Walmart. It's $2 or $3, $3 a can. It works okay. WD-40. Uh, they're more expensive now. These brands. They used to be $2 or $3 a can. Now they're like $7 or $8 a can. This here has people will swear by this. It's got a 50-50 mixture of acetone and automatic transmission fluid. It works pretty good. And I'm talking about these. I'll use the cheap stuff first. I will use the cheap stuff first. 90% of the time it works. Now, when you have a problem like stuck augers or something that's really, really stuck, I've used this cheap stuff first. I said, this is the stuff I use right here. If I absolutely have to get something loosened, I'll use this. It's called Yield. It's hard to find. It's like $25 a can. I don't know. I don't know why it works, but it works for me. Uh, right here is Liquid Ranch, which I I really like this stuff. It's only like $4 a can. It scores very, very high in comparison tests, and it will work 95% of the time. So if you're a homeowner, you've got a couple snow blowers, a lawnmower, a generator, this stuff here, all this other stuff will work in most cases. You don't have to buy the really expensive stuff. In most cases, this stuff will work. I swear by this stuff. I get it by the case, and it works about 95% of the time. And this stuff is for the real hard cases. Or I haven't used Croyle. A lot of people swear by it too, and it's very, very expensive stuff. But I haven't tried it. But this stuff is what I use when I absolutely have to get something loose. Now, a lot of it takes patience, and I'm always telling people, look, spray the part, spray the bolt or the nut that's stuck. Let's say you're trying to get your muffler off. Here's your muffler. It's held on by two knots. It could be stuck on there pretty good. So what you want to do is you spray it, let it sit for a couple hours, and try again. You don't want to break this stud. This is a stud that that screws into your head. You do not want to break that stud. So you want to have a lot of patience with this. You spray it, you let it percolate, you let it set. Sometimes you might have to let it sit for a couple days, especially when you're trying to take augers apart. Like these augers here, they're stuck onto the shaft. So what I did was I sprayed some my best penetrating oil on the top here, and I'm letting it set for a couple days. I want to get these augers off, and they're rusted on. So it's going to take some patience. I'm going to let it percolate for a few days, and then put it in a vise and take it off. And the same thing that's if you don't want to break a bolt or break a nut, round off a nut or whatever, you want to have a little bit of patience. The patience will go a long way in on getting a lot of this stuff loose. Okay, so when you're using this stuff, make sure you just take your time, and most times it'll come off. You might need a little bit of heat or whatever. Like I said before, this Liquid Ranch is really, really good stuff. I'll put a link in the comments on the video on where you can buy this. I really like Liquid Ranch. It scores very, very high on your comparison test. So thanks for watching, folks. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.